What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Comeback Couples Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jennison, with my lovely wife,
Kendra Jennison,
who doesn't have much of a voice. So this should be interesting, entertaining, and the fact she has no clue what we're going to talk about today. So this should be pretty fun. I like to do these type of things to you. But let's talk about how cool my sunglasses look.
I just want to say you look like Tom Cruise Maverick.
Top Gun. Top Gun. The reason I wore these was because these were a gift for my birthday. Well, one, my future's so bright. I need these things. That's for sure.
That's number one.
That's number one.
And number two, I know exactly what you like.
Number two, you got these for me for my birthday, and Bailey opened them for me, and that was good to go because that made her whole day. So I probably won't wear them the whole time, but I just wanted to wear them. Also, then you can't see if I'm actually have my eyes closed when I'm talking or looking at you or what I'm actually looking at. So
keep me guessing, cool. Huh?
I'm gonna keep you on your toes. Camel toes. So anyways, today's topic though is actually, I wanted to kick it off and I wanted to be a little bit funny, but the truth is it's actually going to be loud because Ryan's making noise over in the corner. But the truth is it's actually going to be a little serious, right? That's why I wanted to try something a little bit different. I didn't say anything to you. You literally have no clue what I want to talk about, but the topic is going to be the ripple effect of alcohol.
Oh.
Because I wanted to, I just spent the last hour coaching a guy. Not going to give you names, but one of my he's in my creators program, which is where they actually get access to talk with me a little bit. We spent 1 hour dissecting his relationship with his wife, and choices that were made. I'm not going to share what they were, but choices were made when he was, drinking and going through his past, whatever, and the ripple effect that it's made and what he's dealing with right now after he's taken back control of his life, but ultimately deciding, what he's going to do in the future and some of the stuff that the struggles. However, you have a unique story as well when it comes to the ripples of alcohol and the effects of alcohol with obviously your dad and your brother and stuff like that. And what I want to talk about though is what it's done. I'm going to share some of my ripples effect and things that I go through, some of the loss, some of the pains associated with it and what it's done in my life. But the ripple effect of alcohol in my life, and I would say even in your life, even though it doesn't feel like it at this point, it's actually a good effect, right?
Yeah, I would say for in my situation in particularly, yes.
I mean, I fully believe that God, the universe, whatever spirits, whatever is out there, gypsies, right? whatever it is that gave us one another we were meant to be together. I mean, just from the similarities and commonalities and the stories to what's going on. But I want to talk before I get into the good. I want to talk about some of the darkness of it. I'll just share with me like the ripples of alcohol in my life and what it caused me before I even met you. My choices and the actions of my life are my life, right? And they impacted a lot of people negatively and a lot of people positively because there would be without them, this wouldn't be here. But we'll just talk about some of the choices like from my uncle, even the things that he made that I still feel today. Like today is the 15th or 14th. Today's the 14th, I think.
15th.
Right? 15th, damn, losing days. June 15th, 2022. But June 13th, 2007, my uncle, who was like a father to me, drank, just got a clean bill of health on a Wednesday, died clean bill of health on a Friday, went out drinking, made a choice. I mean, it's an interesting thing about cancer, at least in his case, right? I feel like either you think if you beat it, you either think you're God and nothing can touch you, which was his case, or you're so grateful of life that you just start truly living life, right? I see there's kind of like no real in between, right? Even with like Phoenix's mom, like just battle it so long, just kind of like you kind of become numb to the fact that, hey, I'm actually sick and going through these things, but you start living like there's no tomorrow. Who's right or wrong? I don't fucking know, right? I don't know what to do. But I look in his case and I think about the ripple effect of that day that he died, which was June 13th, 2007. It sent a series of events and emotion into play that has caused me to be able to change the world and ultimately meet you. But I think about some of the pains and some of the stuff that I went through by a choice that he made. Like, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but often I wonder if I would be as successful had he not passed on.
Sure.
Right? Like, I literally wonder, like, would I be who I am today had he not died? Sure. Not because he gave me money or anything, but I was all this, he was like a crutch to me. If I really look at it that way, he was always there. He worked hard, you know, he taught me good, bad, how to be an entrepreneur. I'm sure I would have figured it out on my own, but like there was like a piece of me that when he died, the ripple effect caused me to figure out who I am. And even though that came through a series of events, traumas, losses, failures, pain, struggles, disasters, whatever you want to look at, it really brought light to my life. But I wanted to talk about the feelings and the emotions of the loss, because there's guys out there and gals out there that are listening to this thing, and maybe they've not necessarily felt death inside of their lives, but there's a ripple effect there of living in a household where the other parent, the father typically, is hated.
Sure.
Or yelled at or looked down upon, right? Not really feeling great, or where the father is just mailing it in and he's there, but he's not really there. Or the father is, spends all his time working, and then drinking and then saying he's working and drinking back and forth, and what that causes to the kids and to the feelings that they get in their life. Now, for me, life was, all my choices were my choices. I made choices thinking that alcohol made power. Now I know that in your life, obviously we talk about your dad, you know, we don't have to go too crazy in detail, but I want to know about, and you said it before, that you lived a very, very normal life.
Yeah.
Right.
I did.
But the reality is he made some choices that caused, in my opinion, if we talk about the ripple effect, like, selfish.
Sure. I would agree with that. A lot of that. Yeah. So like Mark was saying, I grew up in a very wonderful, beautiful, I had a beautiful childhood. You know, my mom's stay-at-home mom. My dad owned his own heating and cooling business. But he definitely, when it was Friday until it was Sunday, he was obliterated. Like, there was no in-between. It was like, okay, Monday through Friday. As soon as he got off of work on Friday, it was till Sunday, and he was drinking. And there was no just one or two. It was, he would get obliterated. Now, I can't speak about... Well, let me go. So my little brother, who was 2-3 years younger than me, extremely close. Like, him and I were like thick as thieves. Like,
yeah, I thought he was your boyfriend.
That's
another podcast,
that's
another story.
Another story. But growing up, and I'm gonna kind of speak from my little brother's perspective, but most boys idolize their dad. No matter what your dad does, it's like he can't do wrong in your eyes, right? So it's like, we grew up, we knew it was like, oh, it's Friday, you know, my dad's going to be drinking, he's going to have buddies over, he'll be at the bar or whatever, and then he'll get up the next morning, 5 a.m., you know, hammered still, have Bloody Mary, probably be at the bar again, having a beer, and it was just, to us, that was normal. I didn't think too much of it until I got older. But anyways, the ripple effect really that I saw in my whole life was really when my little brother got old enough to be like, oh wow, I'm a man now. I'm 27, you know, 20 or I'm not. He's 21, 22. He old enough where he's like, you know, I'm working. He went to go work for my dad, started doing heating and cooling, and then before you know it, he's like, oh, it's the weekend.
Got his paycheck.
Got my paycheck. Thing, right? I'm gonna drink and I'm gonna hang out. Oh, you know, I'm a bachelor. I'm doing good. I have my own car. I got my own apartment I'm staying at. I'm starting out. I'm going to work every day. I'm doing hard days of work. You know, this is what I saw my dad putting in the work Monday through Friday. Hard days of work. Gets off of work, and yeah, he deserves to have a couple beers like that. That I think is truthfully the ideal situation for so many families. Like, yeah, they tell themselves, yeah, I get off work, I deserve to have a beer, put in a hard day's work, right? But where it gets iffy, if you will, is when you think that is normal or that is accepted, or you know, you start using that excuse, well, my dad did that and now I do that and I'm not even that bad. You know, it's only I own this business. I work hard Monday through Friday, and yeah, I want to fucking drink on the weekend. So what? Well, my dad, when my little brother died, December 7th, right, 2017, yeah, because he was drinking and driving, because he thought it was normal to get off of work and have a few beers, right? Now, there's a little bit more that goes into that, but bottom line is that ripple effect of, yeah, you know, telling yourself. I
would almost say that, and I don't mean to cut you off, I want you to continue going on this, but it wasn't even a ripple effect. It was almost like a tidal wave or like a tornado effect, because looking back at the whole thing, it went full circle.
Full circle. So in that sense, like, and I can truly say, love my dad. Not once in my entire life has my dad yelled at me, raised his voice. You know, he hardly ever disciplined me. My mom was through and through like that. She still is till this day. She knows I'm 31. Oh, I'm going to be 31 years old, and she still like stays on us.
Sure.
We're always going to be her little kids in her eyes, you know. But anyways, amazing dad, you know. In my eyes, from when I was growing up, I can honestly say, looking back, and I was like, yeah, you know, my dad never really did anything wrong, right? You know, he went to work and he came home and my mom had dinner on the table, and then it was just like, okay, like,
it was routine.
That was it. It was routine, right? And then it was the weekend and I was busy doing whatever I was doing, and my mom did such a great job of like shielding us kids from whatever my dad was doing that it was just like, oh, no big deal, right? Anyways, so the ripple effect for me, I didn't feel until of like the consequences of the alcohol and the drinking and the routine of life that he put himself in this life was until after my little brother died, because I was so far out of like I said, maybe I give the kudos to my mom, but for shielding us kids for so long. Yeah, I knew my dad drank. Yeah, I knew whatever. And I knew that he had times where he, you know,
drank a little too much,
drank a little, 3 sheets to the wind, a little too much, and arguing, sure, but it was nothing of what I hear some horror stories like, right?
It wasn't the vision of you see,
right,
of a bum drunk pissing
not at all
on a bed.
Like I said, we had the nice things. We had a nice house. We had, you know, my dad was kind. He wasn't some crazy like drunken asshole, and my mom and dad weren't screaming and fighting at each other. Like, they never did these things in front of us. So, but in 2017, when my little brother died from drinking, because this was part of his daily routine, that ripple effect that my dad had started about drinking, and yeah, you just go out and you can drink with your buddies, and you can wake up the next morning hungover or not, and you're gonna put in a hard day's work. Like, that's a man. That's what a man does, right? But after Jeff died, only then really did I sense that massive tidal wave, not even a ripple effect of, holy shit, this ripple effect is now a tidal wave.
Yeah. Because
Jeff died. My dad, who was already a very emotionally crutched human being, became so even more, went to the bottle even more. So my mom didn't have my dad to lean on.
Sure.
You know, like most men in situations, he was so selfish in that way that it was just like, I lost my son. And I'm sure he had whatever regret going through his mind. Somewhere in his mind, I'm sure he knew that.
It wasn't dumb.
Yeah, he's smart, man. Smart. Some heart of gold human beings I'm talking about. But bottom line, in my dad's mind, I knew somewhere that he was like, God damn it, Jeff died because I was the one who fucking threw the pebble in the lake about this is how life should be lived, right?
Right.
So he had to deal with that. I had to deal with my mom being the backbone of our family, which she always has been, truthfully, but really, really stepping in and not having. Her husband was obliterated. You know, he couldn't fucking keep himself together so much that my mom had to step in and do that. And she lost her child.
Sure.
You know, holy cow, like what is going on, right? It's the tidal wave of that. And then us kids, me, my sister, and my older brother having to be strong enough to hold on to my mom. Like, it was insane. And then on top of it, because my dad was going down this downward spiral of guilt and shame and whatever else, because his son died by the bottle. My dad dies by the bottle 2 years later in a self-induced fucking alcohol-related death. Like, it was just insane. It was just insane. So right now, what I can say is there's probably so many gentlemen that might be like my dad.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to get off work. I'm just going to have a few beers. Oh, it's a birthday party. Oh, it's whatever. I'm going to celebrate. I'm just going to have a few beers. Maybe I'll be obliterated the whole weekend, but guess what? I'm still a man because I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to work on Monday. Like, even if I'm hungover, I got to provide for my family. Okay, great. But you don't know the fucking ripple effect of what you are causing. And now I can only speak on my side, right? It affected my brother. I truthfully, my entire life, have never been a big drinker. I think somewhere deep seated, subconsciously, somewhere in my mind, no matter how much my mom tried to shield it, I would know when my dad was drunk. I would know when, and it was all weekend. Like my entire childhood summer memories is, camping and do whatever. But my dad is drunk, but maybe somewhere deep seated in that, I was like, I've just never been a big drinker for that reason.
Sure.
So that never affected me. But yeah, just the ripple effect can really, really take off into a freaking tidal wave if you don't create a tidal wave of good, of love, of what I consider that you do for our kids,
A tidal wave of choices, right? To combat the negative stuff. When I mentioned, your dad was selfish, I think about I get caught up in the details, right? There's the story that you lived in, and then there's the story that I live in, which is like, and I say this all due love and respect, but it's like, listen to both of them, and even to my loved ones, Jimmy, that I lost, my uncle, like, you motherfuckers missed out on so much, like our wedding.
Yeah. Literally, what was it? A month before
Not even a month. It was like
2 weeks.
It was like 2 weeks
before Mark and I were going to get married. Is when my dad actually
about 2 weeks,
died.
2.5 weeks. Yeah, 2.5 weeks or so. We had to. I didn't even think we were going to get married. We talked about that for like, fuck. I thought it was just tough with everything you went through. But I think about. I want to switch gears on it. The choices that he made, the choices that they make, and someone out there. I want you to, from like a daughter and sister's perspective, right? So somebody, just you and I both know, we all know that everyone who listens to my shit's not because we're cool, right? Some people do think that we're cool, they just love us, but the reality is there's a problem that they want to solve. Their life isn't working. I could tell them till they're blue in the face as like somebody who drank and made poor choices how to stop. I don't know what it did. I don't know what my ripple effect caused other people, right?
Sure.
I only can come from but you being a daughter and a sister, what would you tell these guys something? Like, try to persuade them. They're not going to do it, but try to give them something just to fucking get a hold of this thing. What would you tell them what would you tell your dad and your brother if you could tell them something right now?
Right.
Back up. Like, if we could back up to that day that it happened on both sides.
I mean, it's heavy, but the truth is I don't have a dad. I'm a little girl, and I will never, my dad never saw me get married. My dad never saw, I don't have a dad. That's fucking heavy. So these guys out there, they think they got life by the balls right now, right? And shit, they probably think that they're a pretty good dad and they just have a little bit. But guess what? One day, your daughter, your son is going to be like, damn, because of the fucking choices that my dad made, your son or your daughter is going to be sitting here being like, I don't have a dad. And I loved my dad. I wanted everything in my life my dad was going to be included and involved in. Even when we bought this farm, right? It was like I went to my dad's house and it was just before he died. And I was like, yeah, Dad, you got to come check out. Okay, Kenj. Right? And the same thing with my brother, right? We always talk about fucking one more day, one more chance to do whatever. I guarantee you that if my brother or my dad or my brother specifically knew he was going to die that night, the choices that he would have made would have been a whole fucking lot different. And he was young and he was a good human being. Like everybody who knows Jeff has nothing but good fucking things to say about him. And that choice that he made, man, he doesn't get to have kids. He doesn't get to see my kids grow up. He doesn't get to see anybody, and he's supposed to be here for that.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be my little brother. And so you're taking away so much more potentially than you think you're getting just by drinking that alcohol, and that's the truth of it. And like I said, whether it's big or small, bottom line is there's a ripple effect, because if you're even that daddy, and this is just me going on a little bit of a rant, but the fucking overly celebrated use of alcohol, it drives me nuts. Oh, it's a birthday party. We're gonna have
third
beer.
grade birthday party.
It's a graduation. We're gonna have alcohol. Or it's we're going to a concert. We're gonna have alcohol. Everything is just like everybody's like drinks. Fine. If that's your prerogative, that's on you. But remember, you have kids watching. Oh, it's a birthday party. Oh, we better grab beer for people. Oh, it's this. Why do you have to? Truth is you don't. I mean, every party that we put on, we always tell people, like, listen, we'll buy you water and bubbly. That's what we provide. But choices, like everything always, it boils down to a choice. Like, what are your kids going to watch you do? What are your kids? What examples are you setting for them? What examples are you setting for yourself, for your wife? Would you be able to be there? Are you the one that is going to fucking die and your wife is going to have to be there and to hold your kids' hands and hold them up high while she's grieving herself? And she's supposed to, like, that is so goddamn selfish. Like, they don't think about that. They don't, because why would they? All they're worried about is taking the edge off. I had a hard day's work. I had. Yeah.
A bunch of self-entitlement and a bunch of excuses and a bunch of lies and just a bunch of pain and failure. I don't want to keep you in the pain too much because I could see the tears in your eyes, and because I know the ripple effect. Even as being your husband, and like, because we have a really good relationship. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like 100. Like, we just crush it. Yeah, and because we want to. I just was talking about that. Like, we could choose to have fights, arguments. I could choose to drink or lie. Whatever. We could both do whatever we want to do. Nothing's stopping it. We choose to do it, to live life this way. But I look at even like the ripple effects of what it's done. It's hard for me to see you cry because obviously I don't want you to cry. But I look at like what a man who's made a choice on the other side of the ripple effects can go the other way. They can be reversed.
They can be reversed. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's the takeaway. And that's why I will say God gave me you. That's why, my death, my experiences that I've been through, my loss, my failures, everything, I know I make jokes because you're 11 years younger, but your soul's not 11 years younger. We're like the same. We're like, we see the world very, very similar. And, but being on the side of it to make the right choices for the guys and the wives out there listening, and you could be a wife, you could be a wife, you could share this with somebody and be like, dude, listen to what she said. Like, listen to what she said. And hopefully you wake up. But at the end of the day, if you're the guy that makes the choice and we talk a lot about leading, right? I lead us pretty much in everything. You can reverse the choices by changing who you are, what you want, and why you want it every day. Living life with intention, living life with focus, living life with a reason and a purpose to actually leave your family. And to be clear, like, if you're not doing it and you're with somebody that you don't want to do it for, then it's probably better that you guys just separate. Like, that's hard to hear, right?
And it's hard for a lot of people to accept that truth.
Because you don't want to give up the fighting. You don't want to give up the lying. You don't want, like, it's just a lie and it's just a painful story that you don't need to exist in. But I know that our intention is to set the record straight that choice is in everything, and that you can come alongside one another and you can change the generational lineage or curse or whatever you want to call it of your family by every single day living with intention to do the right choices, because there's enough risk in the world. Like, I could get killed driving to the, driving to the office or to the bank or whatever, right? Or I could have a heart attack. Sometimes I work too much, right? Like, there's enough risk out there. Why would you want to put any more risk on yourself? Now, that doesn't mean I'm even against drinking. Like, right? I'm not even against drinking.
Yeah. And I agree. I great point. And I'm not either. Truthfully, I'm not. I think there's a great time and a place to have a beer and celebrate with a buddy, to go to a wedding and cheers and champagne. Even if we were maybe on a deserted island, just you and I, and we wanted to get twisted on margaritas or whatever. There's a time and a place for everything, right? There truly is. And your choices, they matter. And what's so crazy is, just to like kind of tie this up maybe, but when I think about that ripple effect, it's not always this. It took 30 years essentially for that ripple effect to catch up with my whole family. 30 years before that ripple effect turned into a tidal wave. So right now there's guys and they're like, I know they're thinking, because it's what my dad thought. I'm not that bad. Like, I'm still taking care of my family. I'm still going to work. I make all the money. I'm the one who's still doing this. Yes. And just drip by drip by drip, you're filling up a fucking canister, and that canister is going to explode, and that tidal wave is going to come. It's bound to happen. I don't know if that looks like death. Hopefully not. Worst case scenario, that's what happened to my family twice because of alcohol. Somebody saying it's not that bad. It could be a divorce. It could be maybe somebody gets hurt, crashes, bankruptcy. DUI, bankruptcy, business losses. I don't know what it is. I don't know what your tidal wave is going to be. And I'm not wishing that upon anybody. But the truth of the matter is there's consequences to the actions that you are doing right now. No matter how small they are, you're filling up a canister, you're filling up a container, and it's going to burst. I don't know when that is. But you can reverse it. You can anytime. Actually, anytime you can turn the fucking faucet off.
You could empty that.
Stop filling the canister,
kick
and
it over.
You can use it for good.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I think there's a lot of value in there for the guys that they're going to get out of this thing.
Yeah, I truly hope so. I hope so,
because I know we don't normally talk or share your story about stuff, and I know it's hard for you, and we're not trying to exploit it. We're not trying to use it for bad. We're trying to use it for the fact that like there's daughters and wives and men, kids. It doesn't matter, man or female. There's people out there that are hurting today because people are making poor choices, and it might not even be in alcohol. It might be fucking drugs, might be overeating, might be overworking, might be whatever, right? But typically here we talk about alcohol. So I want to make something clear real quick before we hop off, but the greatest gift, the greatest power you possess, the ability to choose. Now, talking just about alcohol, we help you control the alcohol. I don't think alcohol is a bad thing, but I think it becomes a bad thing when you choose to get fucked up day in and day out, or every other weekend or every weekend, when you start putting number and time constraints on the amounts and days and time that you actually drink. That's where the real problem is. And I just wanted the guys to hear that, because if somebody's listening to this thing and you're drinking, like if I only drank honestly 3 or 4 beers a day, I probably wouldn't even say I had a problem.
I don't think most people would consider that they did. Yeah.
For me, but someone might actually have that out there.
Yeah, I agree.
We're also built in. One thing I wanted to touch base on, right? Like your dad, myself, your brother, everybody. Wisconsin has bred us. Not only do we deserve it, but it's like in our blood to drink here.
There's literally how many? There's like we have like a record. We have more bars per like. I don't know.
I don't know. I just
per
know
something than any other state in the world.
I just know that it's just ready, available, and from a young age, from deer hunting, ice fishing, fishing in the sun, everything is just drink, beer, beer, right? Like, so I'm not here to knock beer. I am not here to knock drinking. I'm not here to tell anyone they should or shouldn't drink. I'm here to tell you that every action, every choice, every decision you make, there is a ripple effect. So you need to own it and be clear with it. And if you're good with what you're doing, cool. And if you're not, you want to do better, then figure it out. Whether that's coming to the comeback, whether that's going to AA, it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that you can look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and be proud of who you are, so you know what you want and figure out why you want it. The last thing I want to say is I want to thank you for sharing that with us, Kendra. I love you and I appreciate you very much.
I love you.